And now the Rams do what? 26th overall.
Yeah, I mean, O-line, wide receiver, D-back. Um, they got a 37-year-old quarterback. I didn't love their offensive line this year. Havenstein's 33 years old, missed a lot of time the last 2 years. The interior offensive line was a work in progress. So I went with Donovan Jackson, another Buckeye.
Hmm.
To me, is a quintessential guard prospect who had to kick out and play left tackle. So what you get with him is a guy that can plug and play guard right now and upgrade the athleticism, toughness, run and pass in your line. And he could also kick out for Havenstein if he needs to. So I love that pick for Donovan Jackson. What that does is that now gives us 7 offensive linemen off the board, 4 tackles, 3 interior. And I think there's a drop off at this point. And if anybody wanted one, they would have to get ahead and get up to Minnesota at least. But I think that probably closes the door on the first round with offensive linemen.
Okay. The Ravens, with 6 more picks to go, 27th overall. Who do they go get?
I just love them. Whether it was Ozzie or DaCosta,
Right.
they're not afraid to move up. They love to move back. But when they see the board shifting towards them favorably late in the round, they're cool with sticking. So they stick and pick a safety, Malachi Starks.
Oh, yeah.
They pair him with Kyle Hamilton. And the cool thing, the added benefit here, he might even be a better nickel than he is a safety. And if you move him to nickel, if you want, you can move Marlon Humphrey back to corner, which is his natural position. Keep in mind, they lost Brandon Stevens. So I think Malachi Starks gives them a lot of options, safety or nickel.
Yeah, we had him on the show last week, Mike. He's got Raven written all over, literally written all over him. He really does.
Yep.
Just seem to be that type of guy, and just him next to Kyle Hamilton. That's a tall order, man. That for sure.
Right.
Yep. So the Ravens 28th overall Lions. Who do you have the Lions taking?
Let's not overcomplicate it. Everybody's talking about edge rusher. That's what it should be based on what's left on the board. Because, you've got Aiden Hutchinson, who's a speed to power, heavy-handed guy. I'd like to pair him on the opposite side with a kind of a twitchier guy with more bend so that they could flip-flop, cause offensive tackles all kinds of problems from week to week. So I gave him Dominic Ezeraku from Boston College. He's got the best bend as an edge rusher that I've seen in years. He's twitchy. He plays longer than what he measures. I mean, he's 34.5-inch arm on a smaller body. He's tougher than people think. He can set an edge. And I think you're going to get a production out of him immediately.
Okay, so now we've got the final 4 teams here, the rich getting richer. How? Let's start with Washington. What do you think?
Yeah, just as a preface, I would think this is another potential trade down.
Okay.
When you get the draft night, Rich, they only have 5 picks and the second least draft value of all 32 teams. Keep in mind they traded away smart trades. They got Tunsil and they got the wideout from San Francisco.
Yeah, Debo.
Thank you, Debo. I wanted to say Dumbo, and I knew I was in trouble if I said that. So I think they're a potential trade down, Washington, but if they stick and pick, which in this situation I believe they would, keep in mind Dante Fowler went to Dallas. There's still good value left at the edge rusher position, which they need. They take Michael Williams, 6'5", 265, long arms, movement skills like a ballerina, more upside than he showed at Georgia, played through injuries this past year, showing some toughness. So the reason he lasted so long is people wanted to see more production. But I think part of it was because of the injuries this year, and he's got a high ceiling.
Okay. So I'm mandated to ask here before we get to the final 3. With the Giants, in your estimation, already being the ones to strike a deal to move up to take the quarterback and Jackson Dart, Cleveland sitting 33rd overall, first team to choose on Friday night. You got Vegas 37th overall, sitting there on Friday night. You don't have New Orleans taking a quarterback in the first round. They're 40th overall on Friday night. Who would you peg, and for which quarterback to hop in with Washington there, should Washington strike a deal? What do you think?
You know,
What's your
Rich,
best guess?
it brings up an interesting point, which is there's been more chatter about the middle ground of quarterbacks this year than I've ever seen. Okay, so in other words, Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, and then Jackson Dart became the three guys that are, quote, the high level, and we all know who they are. There's another group at the lower end, but the four guys that have generated a lot of conversation is Tyler Shuck, Jalen Milroe, Will Howard, and McCord from Syracuse. And people are grinding the hell out of those kids because they're not sure whether or not all four of them may be as good as Dart or Sanders. Okay. They're all grinding these guys hard. So I think if you're Cleveland, you can stick and pick. The Milroe kid is off the chart as far as upside. He's going to need to sit for at least a year, maybe two. So, Cleveland, I think Will Howard or Shuck fit pretty good. And at New Orleans, they might be tempted by Milroe at 40 just because you put him on a field, and even if he isn't quite ready to go, his athletic ability is going to buy a lot of big plays for whoever drafts him.
Okay, final three here. The Bills, 30th overall, do what?
They've got 10 picks, 2 in the second round. Corner, wide out, D-line are the needs. Board fell really good for them also. Smart, the rich get richer. D tackle and corner. The D tackle board just hasn't been attacked yet. Everybody knows how deep it is, so they're waiting to get one. So they say, the heck with it. We're going to get the fourth corner, Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky. They re-signed Benford, the corner out of Villanova this year, but they're not really dynamic outside. This kid gives them a dynamic outside player. As long as he competes and tackles physically, he's got special ability to play at a high level.
All right, and if the board falls this way and you're saying we're out of the first-round grade offensive lineman store, they're fresh out of stock, what do the Chiefs do here?
I agonize because I think Ray, the tackle from Minnesota, has a first-round grade on my board, but there's apparently a bunch of off-the-field stuff that's been qualified by NFL teams. I think he's going to fall a little bit. So if I can't go with Ray there, they probably need defensive linemen would be next. And let's face it, they got embarrassed by the Eagles up front. I wanted to give them an offensive lineman. Brett Veach is smart. He won't reach. He'll get value. I've got him taking Shamar Stewart, the defensive end from A&M, and he had 4.5 sacks in 3 years, Rich, but might have more upside than any player in this draft. He's body beautiful. He played well at the Senior Bowl. You put him with Karlaftis, Chris Jones, Omenahu. He can play inside, outside. That would be fearsome, that group.
All right, so if you're saying that the defensive tackle board has not been fully attacked yet,
yep,
and Howie Roseman's now on the clock, 32nd overall. He's high-fiving, cartwheeling. What's he doing right now?
Yeah.
What's he doing right now, Mike?
You read my mind. I wanted to give him a corner. Okay, and Hairston was taken at 30, which I think is probably their cutoff in my mind.
Okay.
In the first round. So I'm giving him Walter Nolan, who's one of the most gifted players in this draft. Ole Miss defensive tackle, explosive, quick, tough. He's had some off the field stuff and on the field some inconsistencies. If you put him in the Eagles defensive line room with the coaching and the other players in that room, because keep in mind, we all know they lost Milt Williams, but they got to make a decision on Jordan Davis, another first-round defensive tackle, who's more of a run defender than anything. So they replenished the stock at defensive tackle, and everybody else better watch out because Walter Nolan's coming too.
That completes Mike Mayock's mock draft. Everybody, catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.